Max B walked out those gates and the whole culture woke up, but when he linked up with Cameron and Mace right away, Harlem knew something major was shifting, and Jim Jones definitely didn't look thrilled about it.
That's kind of how I missed out on Max B. I'm just being straight up honest. And Jim ended up signing him because Jim seen the vision, but because Jim had an outside vision of Max. I grew up with Max, Charlie Rambo, nigga play all day. Nigga throwing piss on the bums, joking all the time. So when he came to me and said he gonna start rapping, I was like, yo, Charlie, stop playing. His exact words was killing. They were like, no, let's get this shit clicking like Dorothy's heels. I said, yo, this nigga play too much, man. So sometimes you gotta see the vision, but it's a lot of people that I seen that not necessarily still live in New York. They live outside of New York, and still people who live in New York who'll be like, Cam, I'm from Harlem. You gotta put me on, da 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 da. And it's like, bro, let me tell you one thing about Harlem. If you good or you hot, they gonna support. Harlem can't wait to branch on to somebody that's good and say, yo, these niggas is hot, or this person hot. Let's move, let's do it. Not only that, the other bros will pick up. Cause you know how many niggas from Queens or Brooklyn or the Bronx, everybody come to Harlem, or at least they used to. So niggas be like, yo, you got a Harlem nigga? You know how frustrating it used to be watching 100 niggas from Long Island get on? EPMD, Eric B, Rakim, motherfucking Biz Markie. And then you think about Queens, you think about LL Cool J, Tribe Called Quest, Nas, 50 Cent, Run DMC. The list goes on. Brooklyn, shit, Big Daddy Kane, motherfucking Fat, all these people. So in Harlem, we used to say like, yo, Harlem got a jinx, man. Harlem got a jinx. I don't think none of us ever getting on, because nobody had been on since Dougie Fresh, Rob Bass, or Kumo D. It was a drought till Mace came and broke the drought, so.
Because everyone understood that Max B wasn't just another rapper returning home, the whole hip-hop community paused and held their breath as soon as he left those prison gates. This marked the resurgence of a Harlem vitality that had been absent for more than 10 years. Fans weren't the only people waiting for Max. He had a complete story that needed to be resolved, a full music that was unfinished, and an entire age that was frozen. It seemed as though the society had changed when the second group of people saw that initial picture of Max grinning once more, back in the free world, and holding his head high. The true shock, though, came when Max quickly connected with Cameron and Mace, two Harlem OGs who were the only ones who truly understood his talent and his suffering. That moment became viral on the internet. Everyone was aware that this reunion held history, loyalty, and a great deal of unresolved tension that had been building for years, not because it was unexpected.
Our fans, we just sold out the Brooklyn Paramount less than 24 hours. You know we had to double back and get y'all another day. January 17th, Brooklyn Paramount, the double back. We calling it the Double Back Dawn. That's the name of this joint right here, the Double Back Dawn, Part 2. We coming out, we gonna make it a movie. You already know, Max Biggervale signing out. Peace.
Where the wave was invented, damn Steve, it's under me.
Right.
Child, it's Biggervale. Y'all call him Biggervale Max B. I know him as Charlie Rambo.
Charlie Rambo.
I'm from the building where the wave was invented, and was invented that I was born. Look, it's hot. And no disrespect to Biggie, because that's my brother. That's my little brother. I just spoke to Max motherfucking 2 weeks ago. That's my brother. Max said, yo, I've been outside. I'm from the building where the way was invented.
Max's connection to Cam and Mace wasn't coincidental. Over the years, these two men continued to denigrate him despite seeing his ascent, betrayal, and incarceration. They consistently expressed their admiration for Max's inventiveness, charisma, energy, and distinct style that he brought to Harlem. The industry failed to eradicate him despite their best efforts. People didn't doubt him when they did. Additionally, Max's decision to get back in touch with them initially was more than just a reunion. That was a claim. It stated, "I remember who was solid, who stood tall, and who didn't switch up when everything fell apart." And the fans were aware of the precise target of that message. Even while the reunion was lovely, there is one person in Harlem who is unable to be happy about it. Jones, Jim. It is impossible to discuss Max B's return without mentioning the decade-long conflict between him and Jim. A conflict that became bitter, devastating, and personal for all parties. More quickly than anyone could have predicted, Max and Jim's relationship turned from brotherly to antagonistic. One of the most repulsive breakups in Harlem rap history resulted from the fallout. Therefore, the streets caught the message when Max emerged and struck up a conversation with Cam and Mace without even noticing Jim. The goal was not to bring Dipset back together. This had nothing to do with the past. This was Max returning to Harlem with a new purpose, a new circle, and no desire to act as though the past had never happened.
My fans, we just sold out the Brooklyn Paramount less than 24 hours. We had to double back and get y'all another day. January 17th, Brooklyn Paramount, the double back. We calling it the double back dawn. That's the name of this joint right here, the double back dawn, part 2. We coming out, we gonna make it a movie. You already know, Max Bigger Valve signing out. Peace.
The fans' reactions are the most bizarre aspect. Memes depicting Jim appearing anxious were shared on social media, along with captions such as Jim Jones when he saw Max, with Cam and Macy. Because everyone understands deep down that Jim's pride is linked to the past. Max used to be Jim's secret weapon, his creative spark, and the reason why some records were so successful. It seems as though the universe is preparing for a clot that no one anticipated would resurface now that Max is free and happy, and standing next to two men Jim also has a complicated past with. Not only are people witnessing Max's return, but they are also witnessing Harlem realign itself in front of them. The following chapter is going to get even crazier if this is how he's entering the game, fresh out.
Man, 600 horses, she guaranteed. Fuck, she'll love it too. She gonna eat you up. She gonna eat you for breakfast. Right, baby?
And Max B understood. Since landing, Max B has been moving in an official and modest manner, and many people in Harlem are rocking with him. The final link-up is this entire scenario. Without a doubt, Max started doing fantastic as soon as he got home, outperforming many folks who have spent the entire period outside. And that's simply the reality. I won't mention names, but let's be honest. He's doing better than the majority of men living on the streets. We are all familiar with this place's past. Everyone is constantly wondering if the long-standing animosity will ever be resolved so that Harlem may truly unite once more. To be honest though, Max doesn't even require the opposing viewpoint at this time. He's making it very evident. Without any cosign from the old circle, he is making great progress. You are fully aware of the person I am referring to. Baby, he got the horsepower.
We all got that horsepower, baby. It's Max Bigger Valve. I use it myself.
Everyone playing their part is shouted out in French. However, nothing compares to the feeling of being at home when someone knows you well enough to refer to you as Charlie R. As the images and videos of Max B connecting with Cameron and Mace went viral, people began researching the true background of why this particular moment was so impactful. You have to keep in mind how Max entered the game in order to comprehend its significance. Max was attempting to establish himself in Harlem prior to his notoriety, the wave, and the renowned mixtapes. Jim Jones was the one who initially shot him. Jim recognized Max's uniqueness when he saw his brilliance, his unadulterated melodic approach that no one else had yet achieved, and his charismatic yet rugged charm. Some of Dipset's greatest songs ever were produced by their early chemistry. However, animosity was growing behind the scenes. The money was not coming in, credit wasn't matching, there was a lack of respect. Max began to realize that despite being the one creating the hits, he wasn't receiving the same treatment as the person delivering the sound. The fissures began to show at that point. The disputes, the debates, the annoyance. You couldn't control or mute Max. Jim also didn't enjoy being questioned. The beef erupted, diss tracks flew, interviews were messy, and the streets took sides when Max broke off and made the problems public. All of this was happening just before Max was arrested for the case that would keep him away for more than 10 years. Some fans have long maintained that if Max and Jim had remained friendly, his demise would not have transpired as it did. Some people think that Max was only strengthened by the beef, gave him the persona that people today associate with him, the Surge.
Dude, bro, what do you do for a living? Yo, what do you do for a living?
I'm an entrepreneur.
You're an entrepreneur? What's your name, man?
Max Biggerville, New York finest. What's going on? What?
You make music.
I make everything. I manufacture. We manufacturer. I got the factories. You like Henry Ford out this month.
Henry Ford?
Yeah.
What's next for you? What are you working on right now?
I'm working on the purge. I'm working on a few other things. I'm working on the coke wave narcos. I'm working on treats to come. Stay tuned.
What's one piece of advice you give to somebody watching this video who wants to do something similar to you?
Keep working, man. Put your head down. Keep pushing. Keep running. Don't complain. Nice Biggerville. Signing out.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right.
Have a good one.
Good.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Thank you, bro.
However, the fact that Cam and Mace were never involved in the conflict is what makes their reunion so potent. They did not take sides. They made no attempt to take advantage of the drama. They respected Jim as someone they came up with, and Max as an artist, remaining impartial but encouraging. Therefore, it feels more like a Harlem realignment than a small-scale collaboration to have Max standing with them. Cam and Mace are two individuals who know how to maneuver strategically, steer clear of pointless conflict, and still uphold respect in the workplace and on the streets. Fans claim that Max's choice to reach out to them first is more significant than just music. It demonstrates development. It demonstrates maturity. Additionally, it demonstrates that Max is entering this new phase prepared to uplift rather than rekindle negativity. However, Jim Jones's shadow still looms over everything despite that pleasant vibe. The public won't let that past fade, not because Max wants it that way. There were a lot of queries in the comments. Will Jim reply? Is Dipset formally split? Is a collaboration between Max B and Cam imminent? Is Jim going to be excluded from the history of Harlem? Curiosity is natural and not malevolent. After 15 years of seeing this narrative unfold, Max is finally free, and Jim is still out there, active and speaking about his legacy. The culture is therefore keeping a tight eye on him to see his response, because Max's return puts pressure on him in a way we haven't seen before, whether he likes it or not. Fans saw a change in tone throughout the industry as Max started to celebrate his independence and re-establish connections with the most esteemed voices in Harlem. Posts such as "The wave is back" and "Harlem isn't going to be the same" were made by rappers, producers, and former partners. They were correct, too. Naturally, there is a distinct kind of energy when Max is around. He was more than just a rapper. He was a trailblazer in fashion. The popular musicians of today have melodious flows. Much of it has its roots in Max. His influence continued to grow even while he was incarcerated. As musicians frequently mentioned how he influenced their sound or method of approaching music, people are asking if Harlem is going to see a creative resurgence now that he's free and has Cam and Mace on his side. Cameron, who has always had a keen sense of potential, is fully aware of Max's worth. Mace, who contributed to the development of New York rap, is aware of the significance of Max's viewpoint in the current environment. Together, the three of them bring three different Harlem rap periods together. Max from the raw mixtape wave that inspired a generation, Cam from the height of Dipset supremacy, and Mace from the flashy suit era. Nobody missed the significance of that unity. Harlem seemed to be recovering on its own. It seemed as though a civilization was reclaiming its past, and Max was entering a realm beyond music. Naturally, though, there is stress associated with any celebration. People couldn't help but wonder if Jim Jones would respond to that picture as it continued to circulate. Jim has a reputation for voicing his opinions, particularly with Harlem allegiances. When asked to match energy with energy, he is known for doubling down. However, he found himself in a difficult situation. Fans will claim he's bothered if he ignores it. Fans will accuse him of being threatened if he replies. Additionally, he will be accused of being resentful if he attempts to minimize Max's return. Therefore, Max's reunion with Cam and Mace puts all eyes on him, regardless of how Jim plays it. This might be the beginning of peace, according to some supporters. Conversely, some believe it to be the start of an orchestrated storm. However, one thing is clear. Max is not acting negatively. He is not attempting to go back in time. He's making an effort to start over, get back in touch with those who really helped him, and enter the spotlight with appreciation. Cam and Mace appear to have a flawless understanding of that vision. Drama is not being promoted by them. Jim isn't being prodded. They are merely expressing their love for a brother from Harlem who overcame a situation from which most artists never recover. And that's what gives this plot its potency. Max isn't coming back with anything to prove. He's coming back with something to look forward to. The public is eager to see what he accomplishes with this second opportunity. Max's future appears more promising than ever as he acclimates to his newfound independence. Opportunities for new songs, possible partnerships with Cam and Mace, and even industry veterans showing interest in supporting him in his rehabilitation. Everything is in perfect alignment, and that's because Max's return isn't motivated by retaliation or ego. It is motivated by a purpose. For over 10 years, he observed the evolution of the game, artists experimenting with styles he helped pioneer, and the rise and fall of conversations about him. At last, he is able to return to the world and take charge of his own story. Mace and Cameron are the ideal individuals to assist him in doing it. They are aware of the politics of the game. They are aware of what Harlem expects. They have a deeper understanding of Max's narrative than anybody else could. Above all, they are aware of timing. Mace and Cam only move when it makes sense. As a result, when they were standing next to Max as soon as he returned home, they were seeing the beginning of something historic, potent, and potentially revolutionary for Harlem rap. However, Jim Jones continues to be the big issue. Every action Max does will raise questions about if Jim is observing, whether Jim is disturbed, whether Jim will react in public or remain mute, and whether Jim is motivated or irritated by the situation. Despite what the internet claims, Max's relationship with Cam and Mace isn't about Jim. It's about Max getting his foundation back. He needs to establish a connection with those who sincerely want him to succeed. And it's about demonstrating to the world that his legacy is far from complete. His creativity is still alive, and his soul is still intact. The most absurd aspect is that the entire power structure in Harlem might change as a result of this comeback. Max, Mace, and Cam together. Influences that. That's the past. The culture hasn't had that level of excitement in years. Younger artists are already keeping a close eye on things and are prepared to work together and capitalize on the trend. Already, labels are reaching out in silence. Fans are pleading for a reunion song, and Harlem Originals are referring to this as the revival of the authentic Harlem sound. Max's tale has always been one of tenacity. Rising, falling, being deceived, battling for his liberation, and now coming back stronger. Seeing him grin once more in front of two Harlem giants who genuinely tease him is therefore significant as well as emotional. It demonstrates that loyalty always shows up, regardless of the length of the voyage. Additionally, the culture is aware that a significant event is imminent. One day, there might be music, a tour, a documentary, or even harmony amongst all parties. However, Max B's comeback has already altered hip-hop's vibe. Additionally, this connection with Can and Mace is just the